Hey everyone, Ryan here, or M&R Productions, and welcome to my review of the LEGO Star Wars 75319, the Armorer's Mandalorian Forge, with 258 pieces and 3 minifigs, which we'll take a closer look at momentarily. This set will set you back $30 in the US, which bodes well for being a pretty fair price for something like this. These $30 sets tend to hit the mark in that regard. Anyway, in the US, you'll only be finding this physically in Target stores or LEGO stores, so like Walmart and Amazon won't be carrying this set. It is a Target exclusive in that way. It is, of course, a set from The Mandalorian Season 1 and has the proper figure on the top right. The box art for this does leave a lot to be desired. There wasn't really much you could do with a build like this, but it's one of the more bland box arts for a LEGO Star Wars set. They just kind of lay it out there for you and plop some brown in the background with a couple of lights and called it good. Top of the box shows the Armorer, which does not look good. We will, of course, touch on that quite in depth here. On the side of the box, it's got that side box art, which looks rather clean, and then in the back, it just shows a different layout, and it shows a lot of the accessories and little features that this set has going for it. Inside the box, we'll find our numbered bags, 1, 2, and 3, the instruction manual, and the sticker sheet. So a pretty sizable sticker sheet for a smaller set like this, but that is definitely going to be needed for a lot of the finer details in this one. And just real quick, that's what the back of the manual looks like. Let's take a closer look at those minifigs. We've got our standard Mandalorian with Beskar armor in this set, a figure that we have seen time and time again throughout the year of 2021, and that is for good reason given the popularity of the Mandalorian. This one has a slight variation from some of the other figures. He has 2 weapons, and he actually has his jetpack, which is a really nice addition. It's not something we've had on any of the other Mandalorians in Beskar armor, so having that is definitely great. He's very well detailed with everything that you would expect on this character as far as the print goes. Unfortunately, they're still rocking that black head underneath the helmet. They have yet to make a face for the Mandalorian, although we have seen, of course, Din Djarin's face, so I find it a bit odd that they are refraining from showing him off. There's the back print, but yeah, great figure, even without a head. Next up is the Armorer, and while this is a character I'm happy to have in LEGO, of course, it is definitely not one without faults, and in my opinion, more than what I would consider normal for a LEGO figure. She does include a couple of tools, though, that are going to help her smelt the Beskar, so those are a nice addition for sure, but starting helmet down, her helmet is incredibly inaccurate. It's just wrong. She's supposed to have 5 horns at the top instead of 4, and they are supposed to basically run straight across the top of her helmet, not be like all separated like they are. And the rationale for this on LEGO's end is save money, live better. This video is actually brought to you by Walmart. Well, this is a Target exclusive. There's a lot of conflicting interests. Seriously, the helmet is inaccurate and it really sucks in my opinion. I don't think it looks good. I think the print on it is shifted way too far down as well. The helmet for this was ripped from Gar Saxon, so it's the exact same mold. And yeah, there's not much else to say about that. It's just plain inaccurate. Anyway, the back shows off some of the fur or whatever that she's wearing, which is nice. I would have certainly preferred a physical piece, and we've gotten things like that in the past for some characters, but this is just a character LEGO apparently was unwilling to fork out the money for that for. The rest of the figure looks fine, like a Mandalorian, but with a bit more detail, of course, with the feminine body type as well. So overall, a mediocre figure at best, in my opinion. Finally, we have Paz Vislo, who is a very anticipated character in this set. First off, he's just got a ginormous backpack. It's a little bit unwieldy at a point as well, but that's what he's got on his back. I think it looks decent. He's also got his weapon there, which is a bit of a different build than we usually get for any LEGO Star Wars weapons, but as for the main character, he looks really good. See that Mandalorian insignia there on his left shoulder. Not so much anything on the right shoulder. No arm printing, but plenty of detail. The helmet looks really, really good. Obviously, his in-universe helmet has a bit of a different shape to it than the normal Mandalorian helmets, but they use the basic mold here, which isn't a problem. Underneath that helmet, you'll find a black head. It just seems like LEGO and Mandalorians and black heads go together. And removing all that off of him, you'll see even underneath that big shoulder pad piece, you actually have a nice torso print, which can be used in lieu of that shoulder pad piece if you don't want to have that on there. So I'll show you that. So this is kind of like the alternate version of Paz Visla without the shoulder pad and backpack there. You can definitely replace it. You can see they essentially have the same or very similar print on here. Slightly different, which is kind of odd that they didn't put the same details, but still, either way gets the point across, and either way looks more than good enough. While the execution of some of these figures may be lacking somewhat, the same cannot be said for the selection of figures here. It's spectacular and certainly should play into your purchasing decision. If you're a big fan of The Mandalorian and you want these characters, especially the Armorer and Paz Visla, this may be your only chance, and at that point, it's well worth the $30. The build for this thing is not the most eye-popping display piece ever, but it's a playset. It's not supposed to be. And as far as a playset goes, this thing is incredibly densely packed with features and details from the show. Now, obviously, it's also not the most expansive room. It leaves a lot of open space, but I think it gets the point across more than well enough. So we'll start out externally here. You got a couple of things going on. We have the main entry archway into the forgery here, and it actually has the Mythosaur logo on the entrance. You'll see that on both sides, and it is a sticker. It looks pretty good there. And you really have one other thing on this back side that's worth talking about, and it's this pseudo entrance here. You can kind of break into the forgery if you would like. So you have that second kind of breakaway wall. Now, as we get to the inside, I'll show you this is more than just a breakaway wall. It's kind of a whole tool cupboard and storage area, but really that's for later. So you can see the exterior actually packs in a little feature, which is nice. On the inside of the build, we're going to have much more. We've got an unprinted Mandalorian helmet there. Very nice to have just for the collection, even just something that literally doesn't have a print on it is pretty cool to see. Probably some leftovers from Mandalorian without Beskar armor in the production line. Fits right into the set, though. We've got an upside-down skate. Not really sure exactly what that's for, maybe for like sharpening tools or whatever. We also have a couple of lights in the set, which are really nice, adding the ambiance in the build there. You'll notice those same kind of like singular bulb yellow lights on the box, and it's nice to see them make their way into the actual set. We've got a broom right next to the entrance, and then as we look inside the entrance, you'll actually see some clips here holding on this entire assembly for the forgery. And it's kind of an odd setup in my opinion, because if you go to pick the set up, get it? It's an odd setup. If you go to pick the set up, oh my god, what a line. If you pick the set up, the whole thing just like drops down, and I guess that's so that you can start picking it up and notice it, but I think it's weird, like if you pick it up, the whole thing's like that. I don't know. I kind of feel like this doesn't even need to be attached, and it's literally made so that you can detach it. So I guess in most cases, I think most kids playing with this are gonna go and opt for a detached model here, just because it gives you a lot more ability to kind of move your hands around. The tool cupboard is right here, and you'll see it does have like a little lock there, so you can actually key code in, and then it will open up and reveal a couple of drawers and a tool there. So nothing crazy inside of there. Now, if we actually pull this whole top part off, you'll notice there's actually more storage inside. And in here we had a blaster, we have a thermal detonator, nice details to have, and then the Beskar tile, which is a bit disappointing. There was certainly an opportunity here where LEGO could have made an accurate Beskar tile with a print on it that had like the little Imperial logo, and that's just not what they opted for. This piece certainly works more than good enough. It's just disappointing. I would have loved to have an actual Beskar piece, but we get a piece that represents Beskar instead. So that's what we have. We have a Mandalorian hologram here, which is amazing. I think a lot of people are going to love that detail. Below that, we have a couple of control panel pieces, which both use stickers. And then off to the left, we have another piece of machinery with a lever and a piece of Beskar down on the table. So that's a nice little additional bit off to the left. But really, I think the main focus of the build for a lot of people is going to be the actual forge here, and it kind of reminds me of the Darth Vader meditation chamber set with this arm that reaches out from behind and holds up this apparatus on top, which is actually just an exhaust hood. So you have this whole rod here, which is going to hold your box that has the Beskar in it, so you can smelt it down and then reforge it into something else. There are some blue flames here, which look excellent. I've got them all properly oriented, at least as the instructions had you do it, and certainly you could mix them around and it might look a little bit more natural, but I think it looks really, really good like that. The sticker design on here is nice as well, adds a nice extra bit of that blue color. You'll also notice some clips on the exterior of this, and while only currently one of them is in use, you can certainly make use of more of them. We'll get that melting pot thing out of the way. We have the armor, and she has a couple of things. She's holding like a little prod sticker here or whatever that you can use to mess with things you're smelting, and another hammer or axe there, and you can clip those on and they can be stored away. So you have plenty of storage area for like the accessories and some of the weapons that you get in this set. Like I said, there's a broom over there being stored away, so that's nice. You have a cup here, at least I believe it's a cup or canister, and actually it's like a table, and really underneath this table there is another storage area, so you can store another weapon or something of that nature. It also represents a seating area, so you could maybe have the armorer seated there, and perhaps the Mandalorian seated across from her, and you can just have a nice dinner date with the Mandalorian and the armorer, and maybe Paz Visla standing guard at the entrance of the club. Oh, and kind of like a hidden feature in the set, the exhaust vent can move. You can spin it about 270 degrees there, so you can get it out of your way if you really want it out of your way to move in here and play around with this and do whatever you want to do. So that's nice. At $30, this is a great playset for kids and collectors alike, especially if you can look past that Peyton Manning forehead and the fact that that helmet mold is the bare minimum that the LEGO Group as a billion-dollar company could do to make a product passable for consumers. It is what it is. But really, outside of that, this set is spectacular. It's such a densely packed playset with so many fun details, storage areas, and play features. And of course, you get 3 minifigs that are going to be very fun to play with. Is it worth that full $30 price tag? Yeah, it is. You should probably buy this if you're a fan of The Mandalorian, seeing as this may be the only chance to get this build ever in LEGO Star Wars, as well as a couple of these characters with Paz Visla and the armor probably making their only appearance they'll ever make in a LEGO Star Wars set. Overall, this one for me, solid 8.5 out of 10. The helmet just takes away a lot for me personally. If you have any opinions on the set, leave in the comment section below. Hit the like button while you're down there, and you can check out more LEGO Star Wars Summer 2021 set reviews on the end screen now.